Scorpio, this is no longer a promise you're waiting to see fulfilled. This is the moment you realize that your breakthrough has already been written, sealed in heaven, and now, it is unfolding before your very eyes. Your family may not understand it. The world may not recognize it. But you, deep within, have felt it coming. And today, this message isn't here to convince you of something new. It's here to confirm what your spirit already knows. You were chosen for this. You didn't arrive at this video by accident. This exact moment, this space you've entered at it was divinely orchestrated. Perhaps you've been asking for a sign, for a word, for a quiet whisper from above that your struggle hasn't been in vain. Consider this that whisper. Or more accurately, a sacred roar from the heavens reminding you that something greater is rising, and it's rising through you. As Pluto, your ruling planet, activates deep layers of your 8th house, and the moon passes through cycles of revelation and rebirth, everything is shifting around you. But what matters most isn't what's changing outside, it's what's awakening within. This isn't just about abundance or opportunity. This is about divine fulfillment, a promise God made over your life long ago, now stepping into its time. For years, you've fought silent battles. You've cried prayers no one else heard. You've walked paths no one could understand. But grace has recorded every step. And now, the divine is moving on your behalf in a way that will not only bless you but shake everything that came before you. Yes, even your family. Especially them. Because what's happening in your life is going to challenge everything they believed was possible. And yet, you don't need them to believe. You don't need to explain. When God does something through you, it's not to be rationalized, it's to be witnessed. And what's about to unfold in your life, Scorpio, will not only be seen. It will be undeniable. Welcome. You've entered a sacred space, not just a video, but a portal of alignment. Here, we honor your energy, your story, and the sacred blueprint over your life. As you continue watching, stay open. Let your heart lean in. Breathe into the knowing that something holy is happening. You are not lost. You are not forgotten. You are being positioned for impact. If you feel the stirring in your spirit, if something in this word resonates with a quiet truth you've held in your heart, I invite you to comment below with the number 777. Not as a superstition but as a sacred signal. A sign of completion. A symbol of alignment. A way to say, I receive. I am ready. This breakthrough is mine. Let me also take a moment to thank you. Your presence here matters. Every word you read, every moment you stay, every comment you leave brings us into deeper connection. And your energy, your support, your light, it's what allows this sacred work to continue. So thank you, deeply and truly. Your engagement fuels this space, and it is my honor to walk this path with you. And believe me, Scorpio, you'll want to stay with me all the way to the end today. Because what the Spirit is about to reveal will shake your soul in the most beautiful way. Now, tell me in the comments, what made your spirit stop scrolling and press play today? What synchronicity brought you here? Let's step into it together. Something sacred is waiting. Scorpio, when transformation knocks on the door of your life, it rarely does so quietly. It shakes foundations. It disturbs long-standing assumptions. And sometimes, it unsettles the very people closest to you. The truth is, When someone in a family line is chosen to break a generational cycle, whether it be of scarcity, fear, or limitation, it almost never looks logical to those still living inside that cycle. What appears miraculous to the soul may look irrational to the mind, especially when the mind is conditioned by generational pain and a long history of not enough. That's where you come in. From an astrological perspective, when the moon passes through the 8th house, the house of rebirth, legacy, and energetic inheritance, it activates deep karmic threads. These are not surface-level shifts. These are core-level rewirings, subconscious excavations, soul-level callings. And Pluto, your ruling planet, does not deal in comfort. It deals in truth. It unearths what has been hidden and empowers you to face it with both grace and fire. If your family seems confused right now, if they're questioning your path, your success, or your transformation, it's not because you're wrong. It's because you're walking a road they never dared imagine existed. You are not just breaking the mold, you are breaking the silence. And with that silence comes all the unresolved narratives your lineage didn't know how to rewrite. That's why their doubt isn't about your worth. It's about their wiring. What they haven't seen, they haven't been trained to expect. You, however, are responding not to their expectations, but to a deeper signal, one that lives inside your spirit and resonates in divine timing. Your path may feel lonely at times, but it is sacred. And sacred paths don't always come with cheerleaders. Sometimes they come with confusion, resistance, or even judgment. But let's bring it back to something simple, something universal: the human need to understand. When something good happens unexpectedly, it threatens the survival logic of those who have lived in lack. It activates old programming: good things don't last, success comes with a price, don't aim too high. These aren't personal attacks. They're echoes. You're just the one strong enough to break their frequency. This is why your season of abundance, emotional, spiritual, or material, can feel misunderstood. Because you are the first. The first to say, "This ends with me." The first to declare, "I will not pass down fear." The first to accept the beauty of your calling without apology. That courage, Scorpio, is what makes you the chosen one, not because you are better, but because you were willing. And willingness is a frequency of spiritual maturity. It's the energy that says, "I don't need everyone to understand me, just need to follow the truth inside me." When you understand this, the resistance around you starts to lose its weight. You stop carrying the need to prove. You stop shrinking to fit. And you begin to stand fully in the anointing of your new season, not for praise, but for purpose. Because healing isn't about perfection. It's about permission. And your life, as it is unfolding now, is giving permission to those around you to believe in the impossible again. Even if they don't see it yet. Even if they never say it. What you're doing is speaking to the soul of your lineage in ways their words never could. So let the confusion come. Let the questions arise. And let yourself be okay with not being understood. Because you weren't called to blend in. You were called to break through. And someday, Scorpio, the very people who doubted the path you're walking will look back and realize you were the miracle they couldn't recognize while it was in motion. Scorpio, the wealth that is arriving in your life is not just a number in your bank account or a title on your resume. It's a vibrational shift, one that begins deep within your energetic body and radiates outward until the world begins to respond. What you are stepping into is not just prosperity. its position, its divine placement. And more than that, it's your soul finally arriving where it was always meant to be. The abundance being transferred to you now has less to do with materialism and more to do with alignment. It's the inner and outer world meeting in harmony for the first time in a long time. And when that happens, money is only one of many expressions. The true wealth is influence, purpose, voice, clarity, and embodiment. The star card appears here for a reason. After the tower, which symbolizes the fall of everything false, the star is the soft glow of hope returning. It is healing after heartbreak, peace after the storm. It is the gentle reminder that your soul was never broken, only buried. And now, it emerges, shimmering with light. The light you thought you had lost is actually the light you've become. That is your true value now. You have walked through fire, Scorpio. And what survived the flame wasn't your status, your role, or your approval from others. It was your essence. And that essence is now being positioned for something far greater than success. It is being positioned for spiritual impact. In astrology, Pluto, the planet of death, transformation, and power, teaches that real growth does not come without letting go. And as a Scorpio, you live this truth in your bones. You know what it means to be emptied, to lose, to be misunderstood. And that's what makes this moment so sacred. Because everything that was taken, everything you were told was too much, too intense, too different, those are the very things now becoming your magnetic force. The energy you once hid to feel safe is now what the world needs from you most. That is the wealth. And it's not transactional, it's energetic. It's legacy level. According to the law of attraction, when you hold a vibration of worthiness, peace, and openness, the universe mirrors that back. It cannot do otherwise. The external world is only a reflection of your internal state. That's why this isn't just about what's coming to you, it's about what's now flowing from you. You've changed your frequency, and the universe is responding in kind. The people who overlooked you will now ask for your insight. The opportunities that once passed you by will now chase you down. Not because you forced them, but because you finally stopped forcing yourself to be small. This shift you're in right now is not a fluke. It's the result of unseen inner work, of prayers whispered in exhaustion, of quiet decisions to keep going even when no one else saw your effort. And now, that unseen labor is turning into visible fruit. But not everyone will understand what you've done to get here. That's okay. You're not here for applause. You're here for purpose. And your purpose has never been more clear. So if you felt like life was taking too long, or that your time might have passed, this is your confirmation. Not only has your time come, but you are being raised up for something uniquely yours. This is not just about what you will receive. It's about what you will build, what you will heal, and what you will release to others. You are not the beneficiary of wealth. You are its steward. And the kind of wealth you carry now, Scorpio, can't be measured in dollars. It can only be measured in light. Scorpio, what you are beginning to witness is not an overnight miracle, it's the quiet unfolding of a seed that has been hidden in the soil of your spirit for much longer than you realize. Sometimes, the most divine blessings begin in silence. Not with fireworks. Not with applause. But with the soft nudge of intuition, a fleeting thought, or a gentle encounter that almost feels like coincidence until you realize it wasn't. This is how the universe works through you. It begins not with the harvest, but with the seed. And sometimes, that seed looks so ordinary, so insignificant, that you almost miss it. This is why being present, deeply present with your inner world matters more than ever. That unexpected message from someone you hadn't thought of in years, that passing idea that keeps tugging at you while you wash the dishes, that opportunity you almost say no to because it seems too small, these are all whispers of alignment. The beginnings of something larger than you can currently see. And it's okay that you can't see the whole plan. Seeds don't ask questions when they're buried. They simply lean into the light. In the language of numerology, repeating numbers act like energetic signposts. When you begin seeing sequences like 1111, 333, 222, or especially 777, the message is clear. You are aligned with a new frequency. You are no longer operating from the limitations of your past, but from the possibilities of a divinely recalibrated present. The number 777 is especially powerful. It signals completion, divine order, and the arrival of your spiritual harvest. It doesn't mean the journey is over. It means the season has changed. What you once planted in tears, you are now preparing to gather in joy. But this part of the process requires a shift in perspective. Not everything that looks small is without purpose. Think of a tiny acorn and what it holds inside a whole forest. Or a single breath that calms the storm inside a weary soul. You, too, are carrying something massive inside something humble. A thought can become a mission. A simple choice can redirect your destiny. A quiet yes to your inner truth can begin a wave of transformation not only in your life but in generations that follow you. And that's why you must not despise the day of small beginnings. Energetically, Scorpio is ruled by the power of transformation. You are no stranger to endings, rebirths, and the shedding of old skin. But what's arriving now isn't just a change, it's an invitation to nurture the new. You don't need to force it. You simply need to trust it. Water what is showing up. Give it sunlight through your attention, your presence, your faith. Let it root in your habits, your thoughts, your emotions. The magic is already embedded in the design. Every great tree begins in darkness. Not because it is hidden from good, but because it is being protected by it. You are in that sacred space now. A moment where what's next is already here, just in seed form. And when it sprouts, it will surprise everyone who thought nothing was happening. Stay watchful. Stay grateful. Listen not just with your ears, but with your energy. And above all, remember, what may look like nothing today might be the very key to everything you've prayed for tomorrow. So tend to it gently. Because you're not just waiting on your future is waiting on you. Scorpio, when your life begins to change, when the blessings you've prayed for finally arrive and the energy around you starts to shift, it's only natural that some people won't understand. They may question your path, your success, or the quiet confidence that now surrounds you. But here's the truth, you don't need to explain yourself to anyone. You don't need to convince those who can't yet see what's blooming in your life. Because the most powerful transformations don't come with a loud announcement, they come with a presence. And your presence, Scorpio, is beginning to speak louder than any words ever could. You've been through the dark night of the soul. You've walked through seasons of uncertainty and silence. You've learned how to hold yourself up when the world gave you no applause. And now, as your light returns stronger, purer, more grounded, it's understandable that it might feel foreign to others. They're used to the version of you that hid your power to be accepted, that questioned your own worth in quiet moments, that stayed small to avoid discomfort. But that version no longer exists. And the one who's rising now doesn't need to fight for validation. Because real power doesn't announce itself, it simply is. From an energetic perspective, the more you align with your truth, the less you will tolerate explaining it. That's not pride, it's peace. When your frequency rises, explanations become unnecessary. Your energy speaks for itself. It lives in the clarity of your choices, the softness of your tone, the boundaries you hold without resentment. It moves in how you care for yourself, how you honor your rest, how you nourish your body, not out of vanity but out of reverence. And in a world that's always shouting, your quiet consistency becomes the loudest message of all. Self-care, in this context, is more than a practice, it's a declaration. Choosing to tend to your mental health, your physical body, your emotional needs, and your spiritual boundaries is a form of silent leadership. You're not doing it to prove anything. You're doing it because your well-being is no longer negotiable. That glow in your skin, the calm in your breath, the way your eyes light up without trying, these are all signals that you are no longer living from fear, but from alignment. And that is what others will begin to notice, even if they don't know how to name it. You don't need to engage with every doubt that comes your way. You don't need to respond to every misunderstanding or shrink yourself to make others comfortable with your growth. In fact, the more you embody your transformation, the more some people will project their own limitations onto you. But that's not your burden to carry. Your job is not to explain your journey, it's to walk it with grace. Let your life be the sermon. Let your peace be the testimony. Let the light in your eyes tell the story that words never could. Just as a tree doesn't explain its roots or the time it spent growing underground, you don't need to narrate your process to everyone watching. Your fruit will speak for itself. The doors opening, the connections forming, the healing taking place, these will become your quiet proof. And for those who doubted, your existence will become the mirror they never expected. The ones who once whispered about you will soon have nothing left to say. Not because you silenced them, but because your growth made their words irrelevant. So keep living, Scorpio. Keep tending to your frequency. Keep choosing alignment over approval. And know this: what is meant for you will not require you to fight for it with explanations. It will arrive in your energy. And your energy will say more than your words ever could. Scorpio, everything that's unfolding in your life right now is not simply a reward for surviving. It's a call to serve. What's being handed to you in this season may look like a blessing on the surface, and in many ways, it is, but it goes deeper than that. This isn't just about what you receive. It's about what you're meant to release. You're not being elevated just to shine. You're being elevated to illuminate paths for others. The wealth, clarity, and power rising through you now carry a sacred assignment. And that assignment isn't rooted in ego or entitlement, it's rooted in purpose. You've been chosen to rebuild what previous generations never had the strength or awareness to repair. In astrology, Scorpio is the sign of regeneration, of legacy, of what we leave behind long after we're gone. That means you weren't just born to endure pain and call it resilience. You were born to alchemize that pain into transformation, not just for yourself, but for those whose voices were silenced before you. That's why your abundance is not just personal, it's ancestral. It's not just money in your hand. It's healing in your lineage. And every decision you make from this point forward carries the potential to ripple through your family line like a vibration of new life. So what will you do with this power, now that it's yours? This is the question of the moment. And the answer doesn't have to be grand. In fact, most sacred callings begin quietly. You might start with something as simple as being more present with your loved ones. Offering encouragement where you once stayed silent. Sharing something you've healed through. Creating something that adds light to the collective. You may not think it matters, but I promise, it does. A soft word of hope has changed more lives than we will ever know. A small act of generosity has started more revolutions than history will record. You've likely felt the pull to give lately. To help. To start something, even if it's small, a journal, a voice note, a morning practice, a new idea for a business that uplifts others. That's not just a passing thought. That's alignment speaking. That's the universe reminding you that your soul signed up for more than just survival. It signed up for impact. And now, you're being given the tools to fulfill that. You may feel unqualified at times. You may wonder why you were chosen to rise when others around you still seem stuck. But don't let guilt or fear diminish the truth of your calling. You are not being asked to do everything. You are simply being asked to do your part. And that part, Scorpio, could be the seed of something eternal. Just as you've been pulled forward by the courage of others, someone else will be pulled forward by yours. Let your actions speak. Let your work reflect your evolution. Let your life become the garden that others didn't believe could grow in your bloodline. Your family may not understand it at first. They may question how you got here, or even why. But they will feel the warmth of what you've built. They will see the stability of what you've nurtured. They will sense the spiritual authority you now carry, not because you said anything, but because everything around you now testifies to it. You are not just the one who made it through. You are the one who stayed behind to build something better. To show that what was once impossible is now planted, growing, and preparing to bloom in full view. And when they finally see it, they'll know, this was never just for you. This was always about what you were meant to pass on. Scorpio, by now you may sense it deep within, the shift is already happening. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. And the most beautiful part of this entire journey is that you don't need anyone else to believe it in order for it to be true. Your transformation is not up for debate. Your healing is not on trial. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your glow, your peace, your strength, or your vision. You were never meant to wait for validation. You were meant to walk by faith and show the world what it means to live from the inside out. This is your moment to own that truth. You are not who you were before the silence. Before the closed doors. Before the prayers whispered in moments no one else saw. And if you take one thing with you from this message, let it be this: you were not just chosen to be blessed. You were chosen to become a blessing. What has been placed inside of you was never meant to stay only with you. It's a living testimony of what's possible when faith meets readiness, when surrender meets purpose. You are a walking harvest, and those around you will feel it whether they understand it or not. But this isn't about them. This is about you. About your alignment with a destiny that has been waiting patiently for you to believe it's real. And now that you do, it's time to move. Gently. Boldly. Faithfully. If something in today's message stirred something sacred inside you, maybe it was a reminder, maybe it was a confirmation. Don't keep that to yourself. Let it be spoken into reality. Comment below with the number 777 if your spirit is saying yes. Yes to the next chapter. Yes to the release. Yes to the rain that is already falling upon the seeds you've planted in faith. You can also share what you're most grateful for today, or name one area of your life you know is ready for breakthrough. Your voice matters. Your story matters. And your engagement here helps grow this space for others like you who are searching for a sign that they are not alone. Because truly, you're not. When you walk in the rhythm of divine timing, you are always held even when it feels like you're walking alone. You are guided by a force that never sleeps, never withholds, and never forgets. And when you're ready, heaven moves. So I want to take a quiet moment to thank you not just for watching, but for being here. Fully, vulnerably, soul first. Every like, every comment, every moment you spend with Miracle of the Sign keeps this sacred space alive. Your support allows us to keep planting seeds of clarity, hope, and healing in a world that needs it more than ever. And trust me, dear Scorpio, you'll want to return to this space often because what the universe is preparing next will continue to elevate you in ways your past self could never have imagined. Now pause with me and ask yourself, what part of your life is ready to bloom if you would simply allow it? What have you been delaying that your soul already said yes to long ago? Your answers might just become your next breakthrough. Don't just hear this message, live it. And always remember, even if no one else understands what God is doing in you, that doesn't make it any less divine. Because sometimes, the world won't believe it. Until it sees the fruit. But by then, Scorpio, it will be too radiant to deny.